All right, I'm Brian Alden. I'm joined by head women's volleyball coach Steve Florio. Coach, you got your first win of the year. First one as a head coach this weekend over your alma mater, St. Francis. You guys ended up winning the Bronco Classic this weekend. Can you talk a little bit about how the weekend went for you guys and kind of what you saw from the team?
Yeah, it was a great weekend. We tried a couple different lineups. We had some players step up that haven't played for us before. Monica Hall, for example, who's a transfer. She did a nice job in the Western Michigan match. Mallory Slider, who didn't see much playing time last year, really did a great job setting both a 5-1 and a 6-2 with Madison Spence. And then several other players did a great job. Olivia Hahn played libero, was excellent all weekend, and Janet Colonies even came in and made some big serves. So we got some contributions out of players who didn't do much last year or weren't even on the team last year. So it was a nice weekend for that, and it was a nice weekend to find out what lineups may work heading forward and what lineups we're probably going to stay away from.
Okay, and Haley, we talked to Haley today as well, and she won Co-Defensive Player of the Week. Can you talk about kind of her individual performance and kind of what she did for the team this weekend?
Yeah, well, I mean, she got it obviously for blocking, and she's been working on blocking all spring. It was one thing we wanted to get her better at. She's a big, strong player, but her technique needed a little improvement, and so I think to come right out of the gates and get a Defensive Player of the Week award shows that her hard work paid off. So really proud of her for that.
Okay, and this weekend you guys are heading down to Dayton for the Flyer Raider Invitational, where you take on Bakersfield, Eastern Kentucky, and Bowling Green. Can you talk a little bit about this weekend and some teams that you don't really see very often?
Yeah, it's going to be a challenging weekend. I think all three teams are strong. Just looking at results from last weekend, it looked like all three teams played really good volleyball. I always expect good volleyball out of Bowling Green. I don't know that I've ever competed against Eastern Kentucky or Bakersfield, but again, looking at the weekend they had, I think that they're strong teams, and checking out their stats, I think they have dangerous players. So I think it's going to be three tough matches, and I'm looking forward to the big competition.
And what are you kind of looking for out of your team this weekend?
More of the same. I thought our ball control was pretty good last weekend. Still we're not completely set on a lineup, but we're getting closer. So looking hopefully that we can find a lineup that we can maybe roll with going forward. I think we're close, but yeah, so I'm just looking for those players who stepped up last weekend to maybe start doing it on a consistent basis and find a consistent lineup.
Haley, big weekend this past weekend. You guys went 3-0, won the Bronco Classic. Why don't you talk a little bit about that from the player perspective?
It was really exciting. Coming out with St. Francis we got a lot of nerves, and we definitely worked it out throughout the game. And then obviously Oakland, we were all pretty fired up to play them just from our rivalry, and we had a lot of memories from previous tournaments and when we beat them 2 years ago. So that was exciting. And then Western Michigan, they've always been a good rival for us. Played them last year, we played them the year before, so it was exciting to play there again.
And then big news for you this week, named Co-Defensive Player of the Week for the Summit League. Can you talk a little bit about what that means to you and kind of how you accomplished that this week?
It definitely means a lot. Just hearing it in general is pretty exciting for any of our teammates. But for blocking, it's definitely big because I usually think of it as more of a libero honor. But it was a team effort. I only had one solo, so 7 of my other blocks were with other teammates, so it was helpful for them and the rest of the defense. So.
And you personally had a big game against Western Michigan. You had eight blocks, obviously all assisted, but can you talk about kind of that match in general for you?
Well, it started off, we were a little shaky, I think we came off a big game off of Oakland, and then we were kind of getting comfortable. We've been trying different lineups throughout the year, or throughout 3 games. And once we kind of got comfortable with what we were doing, then I think we finally kind of got in our groove and were able to play through it and come out with a win.